today we're going to be talking about the political life in ancient Egypt, and you were saying something very interesting right before we go on air. How did the ancient Egyptians get angry? So I'm going to leave you with the storytelling. I know it's very amusing how you start the story and you have like an epic, or how the peak of the story makes us very intrigued to know more. Political life in ancient Egypt.
Well, thank you very much. Ancient Egyptians, modern Egyptians, BC, AD, we're all the same. And we're all the same indeed.
Are we?
And some of those signs which are sent by history to us, we do not acknowledge. And that, I think, is our greatest mistake. We do not acknowledge signs sent by history to us in modern times. Because if you say history repeats itself, and if you say like Santillana, when he mentioned his very famous proverb, if you like, which states, those who do not read their history will be condemned by repeating it. So sometimes it's a condemnation, sometimes it is a huge mistake, and sometimes, or most of the time, you do not read your history, and you need to.
Unfortunately.
You are dead right on that one. Political life, and how did the ancient Egyptian get angry? Ancient Egyptian is a human, he got angry. Of course he got angry. Of course he felt a little bit, okay, I've been dealt with unfairly here, unjustly, because ancient Egyptians had a symbol for justice. There were the bad, there were the good. I mean, these are humans. So we have the dictator, we have the very bad pharaoh, we have the humans who were good. They said good words, they said bad words. At the end of the day, we got this one. His name is Khu in Impu. Please recall this name. I know it's hieroglyphs.
Khu in Impu.
Perfect.
Okay.
Excellent.
And it means?
And it actually, if you want them, it's a name of a person.
Yes, of course.
It's a good question. Yeah. What does it mean? Impu is the well-known ancient Egyptian deity, mythological deity, Anubis. So we all know Anubis, and if you don't, it's the jackal
of the necropolis.
Deity of the necropolis. Excellent. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. She did her homework.
I'm learning. It takes time.
No, well done, my dear. Well done, my dear. Okay, so Anubis is the mythological deity, or was the mythological deity of the necropolis. He was also responsible for mummification. So here is a very important figure. You go to the Egyptian Museum, go up to the upper floor, you deal with Tutankhamun, who we wrongly call Tutankhamun, and you will find the most amazing statue made out of wood for Anubis, or Impu, in hieroglyphs. You see, all those names are Greek. Anubis, Isis, Osiris, Horus, all these names were Greekanized, if I may say so. Here is a word I just invented.
Greekanized. This is history in the making.
Exactly.
So it's more like globalization, but in the ancient times.
Exactly. Okay. The whole world is a small village. All right. At that time, Impu and Khu in. Let Anubis, may Anubis protects me, or protects him.
May Anubis
protects him.
Protect
him.
So
the person who's named this name.
So this is a name of a person, and it means may Anubis, the deity of the necropolis, protect this person, the name of the person.
Exactly.
And he was a farmer. A peasant farmer. You know, I'm very male chauvinist. I should have said he or she.
Here you go.
Male chauvinism all around. Okay. And he was a farmer.
I never thought of that one. you just pointed at something that I never. Oh, okay. He was a man, a very, very nice Egyptian, who came from the field of salt. And where is the field of salt now? Is Natron Valley.
Wadi
Natron. And as you well know, Wadi Natron today is well known of two things. Lakes of salt. When it dries up, salts come out. Gamal Hamdan talked a lot about it. And may God bless his soul. And the number of the huge monasteries there, like the monastery of Bishoy and Syriani, and all the famous monasteries of Natron Valley. Now, this man leaves his home and leaves with his wife and kids an amount of wheat or barley for their food. He takes his donkeys, he takes his products, and he puts his products right over, of which salt was included, panther skins, pigeons and birds, reeds, all sorts of things that he's gonna sell. He takes his stuff and he goes to the town so that he can sell his stuff. On his way, Jehuti Nacht saw him from the distance.
And Jehuti Nacht is another person, but before we know who is Jehuti Nacht, let us analyze the name. Or no, Jehuti is what we call Tahotmus.
Excellent.
Okay.
Once again, excellent. Once again.
So Jehuti is Tahotmus.
Yes. Nacht. You see, Nacht is a name, and you will go to the Valley of the Nobles and you will find Nacht. But Jehuti, like you would like to say today, Jehuti Mes the first. Jehuti Mes the second.
Thutmose the first, Thutmose the first. Okay.
So to pronounce it right, step away from Thutmoses that I hear sometimes, and it like rings a very bad bell in my ears. Thutmoses, like Hathor. Hathor. I used to tell. I'll tell you a good story about Hathor very quickly. As a tour guide, I take my people to the Egyptian Museum, and there I introduce them to Hathor or Huther. Her original name Huther.
Yes.
And I tell him, take a look, you know, I mean, this is the deity of beauty and the deity of music and the deity of love and the deity of marriage and wives and all sorts of beautiful things. Her name is Huther or Hathor. Please don't read it or don't put it in the way that you're going to read it in guidebooks, Hathor, because Hathor is an Arabic word for making a revolution. And you do not want, that's what I used to say to my groups in the days of the 90s and the 2000s. And I say, and this is exactly the word that you do not want to say in the streets of Cairo, because of course at that time if you say Hathor, you'll be taken somewhere else. So it was a joke and everybody laughed and it was a crazy joke.
We hope that
it worked every time.
We hope that has changed anyway.
Yes,
I'm not sure the reaction on using the word Hathor right now.
So anyway, Jehuti Nacht used to work for a very important man in the court of the king.
Yes.
And he was the servant of Rinsi. So Rinsi is the man who stands right beside the king. Who works for Rinsi as a servant? Jehuti Nacht. Who beat up Hu in Impu, the peasant, and usurp all his rights.
It's the Arab Spring all over again. Exactly. Oh my God.
Okay. So he usurp all the stuff.
Yes.
He takes everything, the products, the donkeys, he beats them up.
Yes.
And he takes the stuff in the house. Who in Impu? What do you do? What do you do if you get beaten up by a man that you know that he's a wasta? He works for
Hathor. Exactly.
You will rebel.
Yes.
You will be a sbi. And here is a hieroglyphic word for you. Sbi, S-B-I, a rebel in hieroglyphs. The first civilization in history of mankind puts a word for a rebel, for a revolutionist. Sbi. So what does Sbi, Hu in Impu, do at that time? He stands right in front of the house of the man who beats him up and he takes all his rights and all his products. And for 10 consecutive days, he's asking politely, decently for his rights. سلمية. Peacefully. He's not replying. He's in his house. Now, Hu in Impu, what I call the first rebel, or if you like, the first Mu'tasim, if you like. Because he stood 10 days in a certain place asking for his rights. That's Midan al-Tahrir. Finally, to cut the long story short, the government heard about this man, and Rinsi, the big boss, who stands right beside the king. He's Rais al-Hujjab. Rais al-Hujjab, the man who stands, he's the courtier guy, he's the very important man in the court.
The vizier,
he's the highest guy. Vizier is a good word. So, they heard about Hu in Impu. What does the government do for the rebel? They offer him daily food and drinks. And they offered his wife in Natrun Valley and his kids food and drinks. The government gives the revolutionists and the rebels food during their time of rebellious activities.
No curfews. No curfews.
But did you notice one thing? Hu in Impu did not burn the land of Jehuti Nacht. He did not kill his animals or his pets. He did not throw a stone on the house of the man who beat him up.
And they did not beat him up when he was
rebellious.
When he was a rebel.
And a rebel and asking for his
And they didn't
right.
impose a curfew on him.
There was no curfew mentioned in the text.
And they did not threaten him. They did not.
He was sure of the government and of the reaction of the government.
He was not. That is not written, but from the, if you like, the whole ambiance of the story that you read in the papyrus, you don't get this feeling. I was surprised that the government gave him food and drinks, him and his wife. Now his wife, of course, at that time there was no Facebook, so his wife didn't know what's happening to her husband. Beaten up, all the products are gone. There was no Facebook in ancient times, unless it was made out of pink granite. That's something else.
So what don't you tell us about the relation between the Pharaoh and the people?
At that time,
Yes.
King Khiti III was the king in those days. Khiti III. Nobody heard of Khiti III. Why? We need everybody to know about this king. We know everybody knows about Ramesses II. Everybody knows about Thutmose III and Jehuti and everybody. But nobody heard about this man who was ruling the country during that incident. That incident is amazing. Now, you'll be amazed to know that after the 10 days of this kind of i'tisam in the middle of nowhere, Khouinimpu decided to move to the other step. Nobody gave him his right. The guy, Jehotinak, did not return to him the stuff that he usurped from him and stolen from him. So I'm going to turn into the other step. What's the other step? Writing all sorts of words. Over 400 sentences in 9 amazing words are said by this peasant farmer. He is talking to the king sometimes. And he's talking to Renzi ibn Miro sometimes, talking about Jehuti-Nacht sometimes. And he goes saying, but you are befriending thieves. What? The farmer is saying this to the big wig, the high wig. You are befriending thieves. And then directly he goes afterwards, after some sentence he goes, but you are the man who's sailing with the boat of justice. So see how intelligent this Egyptian man was, and he hits and wins, hits and wins, hits and wins, no lose. And at the end, to cut the long story short, what was the verdict? What was the decision? The king gave Renzi the freedom to say his words in this case. The king is not going to put his words in it. He gives his courtier. His courtier now has got to decide between the farmer, who he doesn't know before, and his servant. Jehuti-Nacht is the servant of Renzi. So obviously as a wasta, as a person who believes that my servant, so he's going to give his servant all the rights. One, all the products of the farmer will be taken from Jehuti-Nacht and returned to the farmer, justice. Two, Jehuti-Nacht will work as a servant. Will work as a servant.
For the peasant.
For the farmer, for the peasant farmer. Khouinimpu. Justice. Thirdly, tell me if this is not justice or justice. All the possessions of Jehuti-Nacht will go to be owned by the farmer. Ladies and gentlemen, Khouinimpu was the eloquent peasant.
I see, yes.
The first rebel, the first rebel in the history of mankind was the first mu'tasim of mankind, was the farmer who was eloquent and beautiful.
Back after this.